From Koreatown, Los Angeles, thank you for tuning into Ktown Social Club. This is where the world gathers to talk about the issues you really care about. It's a different kind of a talk program. We're the only show that offers perspectives from the far left to the far right.
Sounds about right.
Like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to our channel, and smash the notification bell. Michael Kim joining me, Michael Wan, Ed Choi, and last but not least, Douglas Lee Kim.
From the far left to the full fuck sounds right.
Yeah.
I like that.
And check out the description box below down here, and you can see all our social media links. And thank you for tuning in. Here we are together again on Ktown Social Club. Is everything okay? Okay, good. And here we are together again on Ktown Social Club. So, yeah, happy, you guys had a good weekend. We're going to talk about Victoria Lee, some more Israel, and the Olympics. What's so funny?
I don't know.
You.
It's just, I don't know. It's just funny.
How about you, Ed?
Good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Michael?
I was looking at Breaking Bad t-shirt.
Yeah, you really
Douglas
like Breaking Bad, don't you?
Douglas is wearing.
Well, so for the other podcast I was on, I thought it would be funny if I just had a different Breaking Bad t-shirt every episode. And so I'm bringing that here.
Oh, which one? Yellow Knight?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one I had a podcast partner with. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you all for joining us today. Something happened recently. I found out in end of July, there was a Korean American woman, a young woman. I think she was in her 20s.
Yeah, like 25, 26.
Yeah, and I guess she was having some kind of another mental health crisis maybe, and then her, I don't know, family called the police to get an ambulance over, but they didn't. They sent cops instead, and then anyway, somehow this woman ended up shot in her own home and died. I saw Ed did a report about it. This time it didn't happen in LA like with Yong Yang, but this happened in New Jersey. So could you give us the details on this?
Yeah, sure. It happened in Fort Lee, New Jersey, which is predominantly a Korean city town. I think something like 25, 30% are Korean American, and that's a statistic from like 14 years
I used
ago.
to get judging them from there.
Yeah.
The time. Yeah.
So Bergen County in general just is very Korean heavy. And on July 31st, it was like the wee early hours of the morning, roughly around 1 o'clock in the morning, Victoria Lee started having a manic episode that her mother recognized. She was like rolling around in her bed, randomly screaming and like tapping her head against the wall, which her mom recognized. So she told her daughter that she should go to the hospital. Victoria, not obviously, but she declined. And then so Mrs. Lee, Victoria's mother, decided to tell her son Chris, Victoria's brother, to call 911. So Chris called 911, specifically asking for just an ambulance to take her to the specific hospital. I think it was called the Valley Hospital.
Right.
And so the 911 operator was like, we do still have to send cops because it's protocol that they are, escorting the first responders on an incident like that. So he's just like, okay, whatever. And when Victoria finds out that the cops and the ambulance are on their way, she gets agitated because she's having a manic episode and she's, isn't really being able to understand or comprehend what's going on as she normally would when she's not having a manic episode. She gets agitated and she picks up, I think, what I believe is a small, like a Swiss Army kind of knife, like a pocket knife that I think was specifically used near the front door or by the kitchen, was kept there to open packages and mail. So I'm assuming like if it's like anyone else who has one of these knives, it's not sharp. It's become dulled from opening a bunch of packages and stuff. Either way, she picks it up in a non-threatening, non-violent way. But knowing this, her mother tells her son that he should call back 911 to give them an update on it. I think her mindset was that like, if we tell them that she's holding a knife, but it's not in a threatening or violent way, then like maybe they won't use guns or see her as a threat. I think that's what her thought process was. So Chris calls again. I think at this point it's like 1:20 in the morning. The first call was at like 1:15, and he tells them, and it seems to go well. The operator does tell him again, unfortunately, the police are going to be there. So after he hangs up the phone, Chris has this idea that he's going to go downstairs and essentially just like delay the police until the mom can like calm down Victoria, right? So as soon as Chris opens the front door of their apartment, the police officer's already standing outside. So the call time was like pretty quick, within a couple of minutes, it sounds like. So Chris just immediately closes the door because he doesn't want the police officer going in there. The police officer starts asking Chris who's inside. He's like, it's just my sister who the call was about and our mother. And during this time, Mrs. Lee is inside trying to calm down Victoria to at least drop the knife, right? As soon as Chris tells the officer this, the officer asks him for a key, which Chris doesn't have because he was just stepping outside. It's not like he was going somewhere. He had to lock the door. As soon as he tells the officer he doesn't have the key, according to Chris, the officer immediately pushes him out of the way and starts trying to kick the door down. Now, mind you, there is no reason for the officer to do this. There's no crime happening inside. There's nothing life-threatening happening inside. It's not like Chris was like, oh, there's an intruder in the house. Like, the residents of the house did not give the cops any permission or reason to be able to forcefully enter the apartment. But he continues to do so anyway. At this point, well, actually, before that even happens, after Chris originally when Chris first went outside, I believe it was actually the mother who closed the door and told the police officer immediately that he was not welcome because they have a family dog who started barking. And so she wanted to make sure she put the dog away in the crate to make sure the dog doesn't get hurt, which is a very common fear. So like there's already been a verbal warning. So not only have the police not been invited inside, they've been explicitly told you are not welcome inside our house. Like, don't come in. So the police officer continues to keep trying to kick the door down. They're yelling not to from inside. At this point, I believe extra police officers, the backup, have arrived. And Chris sees one of the police officers take out a taser. So he starts immediately feeling a little bit more comfortable, realizing that like, oh, look, hopefully they realize they're going to use less lethal weapons. Like the chance of a gun being pulled out is lower because someone already took out a taser. So at this point, the police officer is successful in kicking the door open. I believe the mother stumbles backwards from that happening, and she's at this point behind Victoria. As the door is swinging open, from what I understand, a shot is immediately fired. It sounds like before the officer even had full visibility to Victoria. Shoots her once straight in the chest. It sounds like it possibly hit her heart, and Victoria collapses. The officers tried to do this like janky CPR on her, and then all while this is all happening, while the police officer is supposed to be an escort for the first responders, from what I understand, the first responders at this point never even arrived. So the police officer didn't even follow protocol. He was supposed to be an escort for the first responders who didn't even get there and then immediately started trying to force his way in the door. And at this point, after she shot, from what I understand, the ambulance still has not arrived. So the police officers, without even waiting for first responders, just carry her down without even a stretcher. They take her to the hospital. She's pronounced dead on arrival. And yeah, essentially, police officer killed and murdered another person, specifically an Asian American, who was suffering from a mental health crisis, which marks the third in the last 5 months in the U.S. that we're aware of where an Asian American suffering a mental health crisis was murdered by the police.
Wow.
Yeah. And she didn't even have the knife on her. So by the time the officer kicked the door in, not only had she dropped the knife and it was on the ground, but she was actually holding up. Everyone says a water bottle, but it was a jug. It was a gallon jug, from what I understand. The articles say gallon, and then they say water bottle, so it's a little confusing. But either way, she had either a water gallon jug
like a milk
or
jug.
a bottle. Either way, she had water in her hands, and even that wasn't being used threateningly. I think it just conveyed the fact that she had calmed down enough to drop the knife. and maybe as like an emotional support, like something to feel comfortable, she picks something else up. You know what I mean? So sometimes when you're like, not for everyone else, but sometimes when you feel out of control, it feels nice to have something in your hands to feel like you're grounded to something. So I feel like that was the reason why she picked up the water bottle, and in no way, from what her family is saying, was she holding it in any sort of threatening manner.
Right. So the family was probably aware of the Yong Yang story because it was big in the Korean community, and they were very careful.
Yep.
And they were also paranoid, like they don't want their daughter to get hurt.
Yeah.
They, made sure bring an ambulance. Hey, she's got a knife, but whatever. Like all
Closing the door right away.
Closing the door. Yep. Don't come in.
They're saying they're not welcome.
They're doing everything they can, knowing how the police can be, and somehow she still ends up shot to death by police.
Yep.
Now, what did the police like? Why? Like
I don't know. And if you
what was their side of the story?
Yeah.
I don't
Is it
think
because they thought that she had a weapon. That's the reason
that
she had
has
killed a
not
knife?
been released yet. But from my understanding is that like there are two different types of people, right? There are nervous and anxious people, and then there are people who are not that. And I feel like officers who do not pass some sort of, I don't know if it's like a confidence test, but like a inner peace, like being able to calm yourself, some sort of test, whatever the wording for that is, it's escaping me right now. Like
Cool
with
under
So
pressure.
you're saying that there are some officers in these kind of situations would kind of panic a little bit, right?
yes,
Fingers.
which is wild, because if you see the police officer who shot her, now I don't know if the police officer who shot her is the same one who arrived first on the scene and was trying to kick the door in. My assumption would be that it's the same person, because they're giving off a similar energy of like there's some sort of urgency. They feel like they need to be a savior. They're acting, making decisions very erratically. So to me, the likelihood that it's the same person is there, but that has not been confirmed. But he's like easily 2 to 4 times her size. He's
Has he
huge.
said anything about? Has there been a statement?
There hasn't been a statement from the police or him quite yet. Just the
Yeah. When did this exactly happen? This was like
July
on July
28th.
28th.
What's his
2 weeks ago.
ethnicity? Can we know that?
He was black, wasn't he?
Black?
Yes, but either way, I don't think that part matters. The part that matters is that like he was huge. He's not, and I don't mean like a big guy. I mean like the guy clearly lives at the gym. Like he
Okay,
is
so buff.
jacked.
Do you think there's a possibility he thought about the Christina Yuna Lee case and was like, "Oh, I got to kick this down. I got to."
I don't know.
Hero.
I don't know why, because it's in the 911 report that it gets told to the police officer that she's with family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they called a second time being like, she's not violent. She's not threatening. She's not violent. She's just having a manic episode. And
But it does provide a lot of contrast. Like you have one where someone's literally getting murdered, like behind.
but
the
that's like the
door.
police officer's
And then-
job to be able to discern
Yeah,
emergency.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, you could see the contrast between
Right.
this
So
crazy
she
cop
had a
just
manic
kicking down a
episode?
door
Like
to like
does it
shoot someone
get
in
into
the
the
chest.
details?
No.
What kind of manic episode?
I mean,
that she was?
just what
she has
the-
bipolar, right?
I believe
Yeah.
so, but it could be having a manic episode could be from a couple of different things. In fact, I think it was originally reported that Yong Yang was having a schizophrenic episode,
That's
and
what
it's
they
been
were saying,
confirmed
too.
that he does not have schizophrenia. And he was also just having a manic episode for bipolar.
Yeah, Victoria Lee was diagnosed with bipolar disorder 2 in 2017. And
What's the difference between
yeah, I don't know what the
that
2 is, but
more intense?
but
Yeah, I
I
forget
did
what
read that she was holding a 5-gallon jug of Poland Spring. So one of these, they're pretty big. So that maybe
Assuming
that
it was
One hand?
empty. Then.
yeah, but
I'm
She
assuming it was
holding this,
empty.
it's
it was
not
probably an
dripping,
empty
right?
one, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Empty
Like
one, okay.
But
sometimes you just
do you remember at the Yong Yang thing, the rally, they were talking about one guy or girls, whoever said, police are trained to even see like a water bottle as a weapon.
Literally.
So in this case, maybe
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Oh, it could
And
be
this is not a
clear,
water.
but-
This is a huge jug. So they're like, oh,
But if she's able to hold it with one hand, it's empty.
right.
So they thought that she was trying to probably.
And they thought that was worthy of
attack,
shooting her in the chest.
Apparently.
that's
because
interesting because
I don't know. Maybe it's because I haven't read that part of the news yet, but like, I've never heard of anyone being murdered with a
So
water
the-
bottle.
So the police protocol is like if you feel teeny tiny level of threat, you can immediately use your weapon. And
That's what
Right?
their qualified immunity says, essentially. Yeah.
I feel like maybe some of them just want any reason to just shoot. Like they want to feel that they want to take a life.
Right. Which I feel like if you exhibit that type of behavior where you're either trigger happy or you cannot assess danger correctly, you should not be allowed to be a police officer
have psyche
ever.
evals for police officers?
Apparently not
or
thorough
antisocial
enough.
personality disorder and
And
stuff
I
like
don't
that?
know.
Do you think when the person is probably a different race, different ethnicity, the possibility of a police officer to shoot somebody, do you think that possibility goes up or goes down?
I
or
mean,
you
I think that
it's-
depends on the person. A lot of cops have shown biased behavior. And if you think about it from a psychological standpoint, it's an us versus them mentality. So regardless
Yeah,
of what
they
the
have
race the cop is,
that, yeah.
they
We're
start,
blue, right?
yeah, they start like, putting people into boxes based off of how they look, their race, which includes, the outer exterior and stuff. So, I mean, that does
there's
happen.
also like reports of like, for example, black officers being even more kind of like aggressive because they got to prove
towards
to,
their
Malcolm
own-
X used to say
that
that.
they're on the
Yeah.
right
Yeah,
side
no,
of
for
the
sure.
right team.
But
Yeah.
if there's a prejudice against Asians, isn't it like Asians abide by the law more than other ethnicity groups?
Yeah, so that's why I think like this big black dude, doesn't matter what race he is, but big black dude sees this Asian girl and just shoots her. Like, I don't know, maybe he's anti-Asian or something.
I mean, in some place like Fort Lee, that could maybe happen where there's such a large Asian population. If you already have a discernment towards disliking Asian people, maybe there's like some resentment or whatever. But, that's all speculation, obviously. We don't know what was happening. The officer's name is Tony Pickens Jr. We don't know what was happening within his mind other than the fact that he was being a coward.
Yeah.
That's him.
I'd
all the
say
way
it's-
that's
Scott,
him on
right?
the far left.
I would
first
say
picture.
it's a stretch to say this
He
Oh.
was
looks huge, man.
He's huge. That's what I'm
Like
saying.
6 foot something,
He's
right?
huge. He's not even like lives in the gym. It's clear that he's lived in the gym like since high school.
Like a
And we're
gym
talking
rat.
about like a 40-year-old man. He's huge. There's another photo of him where he's like, the police officers on his team are all accepting some award and he's the one holding the award. And just in that comparison to the other officers, that third one, yep.
Oh, the
he's
second
still
guy?
huge. Yep. Like there are some
he-
clearly big guys there and he's still almost
He
big.
got some
if
kind
he
of
if
award,
he's getting
right?
an award and
Yeah.
it seems like he's proud of being a policeman, I think it's less like, oh, I'm looking for someone to kill.
Yeah.
Or
And
someone
from a
who's
height
more,
perspective,
I'm trying to be a hero.
He's like tall.
Or I think I'm
He's
a hero.
tall too.
He's
yeah,
huge.
Yeah.
Just in all senses of the word, he's tall, he's big.
And that girl's like 5 foot something, 5'1".
Yeah, something
It
like
doesn't
that.
even matter because like she was on the ground,
I know,
right, when
yeah.
she was shot, or was she standing?
No, I think she was standing.
Okay.
So this is the killer.
Man, he's like a football player.
Dude, I'm telling you, he's ginormous.
Look at
If
those
someone
guns.
said that he was like a
Like a
linebacker,
linebacker.
yeah,
He
I'd
might
be
be
like
trained as
100%.
one.
he must be
Didn't
taking
make the
steroids
cut.
and stuff.
I don't know if steroids.
I shouldn't say that.
I mean, fuck. Well, I mean, he looks like a nice guy here, but he's a killer. So
That's what I'm saying. It might not even be hate, but if you like don't have the calm personality to be able to hold a weapon, you should not be allowed to hold a weapon.
But like some people who have mental disorders, health issues, they would go off. They would have those episodes, right? And there are people who can't stand those. When somebody screams, and
Well,
when they're
they should not
And
be
I'm
police
wondering
officers
whether
then.
these officers, among
Well,
them,
yeah,
oh
that
man,
should
I
be,
can't handle
that should be
yeah.
screened then.
Also,
Yeah,
it's
that's what I'm
like
saying. Yeah, it should be.
Also, like any mental health worker will tell you that the best resource for mental health episodes like this is time.
Like let them have
You
a cool
have
off period.
You have to talk to them. You have to make sure that you give them enough time to cool down and calm down. And that's the thing is like not only did Tony Pickens Jr. not even wait for the actual mental health professionals, which I don't know if you can even call them that because I think they're just like EMT guys. But they're probably better trained than he is, Also, they don't hold a gun. But also, like, he made no effort to try to talk to her or like
Or even the brother, right, outside, just shoving him
barely.
aside.
Right. He basically just, at least according to Chris, he basically just like shoved him aside and just started trying to brute force his way in.
And wouldn't the guy say, like, bro, it's not locked?
Is this exactly?
I mean, I'm sure the monologue
Is
did.
it exactly the same case where the mental health department people first tried to take care and they couldn't handle it and call the police? Is this like
Isn't
the
that
same
also like
thing
a-
with Yong Yang? A
It's
little
like
bit
a
different.
violation of like Fourth Amendment rights, right? It's illegal search.
Probably
and
they
seizure.
shouldn't even call the cops. Whenever these situation comes up.
Yeah, well, that's
I
the
think they
thing
shouldn't
is
even
that
call them.
like I don't think it's even that. I think it's just that, like, why is it protocol for police to be involved in mental health calls, knowing that 24%, and this depends on the city,
Shooting
but
incidents
nationwide the average is 24%. If the police are involved, there's 24% chance there is going to be a shooting, and out of that 24%, something like 68% of those shootings are fatal.
Oh, how?
So
how
we're
much
talking
percent
like-
of that is
so-
mental health related.
All of that is mental health related.
So it's like 16%.
of
okay.
every
No, I meant like the 24% of the calls that are shootings. How much of that 24% are just mental health issues versus?
I think the numbers are very similar. I think about 25 to 24 to 25% of all calls that police officers receive are also mental health calls.
Okay, but they're not overlapping. Like,
No.
I'd hope not.
So New Jersey has a Korean American Federation of probably New Jersey. Do they came out with a statement regarding this incident or?
I think they were in an
Yeah, there was
article.
looks
Yeah,
like
that's the
New
market
Jersey,
actually.
the New
New
Jersey
Jersey
Korean
Highway,
American
right?
Association. So leaders of the Korean American Association of New Jersey hold a press conference on August 7th, urging the police to reveal the truth about Victoria Lee's death. Now this happened last month. What is this now? 15 days. It happened on a Sunday.
I think it's
guess.
because the police just released the name of the officer.
Oh, okay.
So what have they been doing the past 2 weeks? Were they trying to make a story or like?
I don't even know, but in my video, I urged everyone, because I was able to find the police chief of Fort Lee Police
This guy,
Department.
Matthew Hintz.
Yeah, Matthew Hintz. And everyone needs to call, email, and just annoy the shit out of him that we demand the body cam
All the
footage
nonprofit
of that to be
organizations.
released immediately.
Korean American.
Okay.
And
Well,
that video on TikTok has like
Is Chief of
just
Police,
a million,
Oh, did
million
he hit
views.
more
So I'm
than a
assuming
billion?
he's gotten a handful of phone
Chief
calls.
of
and
Police,
emails.
is that an elected?
Yeah, usually.
Okay.
LAP.
it's
Oh yeah.
oh wow, you got a million
Yeah,
views.
just
here.
hit a
Just
million.
crossed. Yeah, I watched this one. Yeah.
Yeah, there he is. Right.
Yeah, so I'm assuming he's gotten a couple of.
And she
reach-outs.
was into music,
She
right?
was- she called herself an
officer
artist.
Had any history of
Violence.
Not that I could find,
I see.
at least not reported by the news.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more inclined to wait till things come out before.
But when they have gun incidents, it's all supposed to be recorded, right?
It is supposed to be, but
Yeah.
in almost every jurisdiction, if not all, it's on the officer to press record on their body cam.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's like a big one that needs to be changed.
Yeah,
Like they should have their body cam recording.
So they can
the
turn it
whole time.
on when they want and
Yep.
turn it off when
Yep.
they want.
We,
That's kind of convenient for them.
It's very
for
convenient for
especially for
them.
killers.
It seems to be goes against the whole point of the body cam, which is to hold them accountable. Which, if it's not on their whole shift, what's the point?
we want to know his past history too. This particular officer, whether he.
I
had
couldn't
a lot
find
of
anything
similar
in the
these
media.
incidents.
But it seems like he doesn't have anything else
Because it
like
doesn't
this
feel like
so
it's
far.
it doesn't feel like it's his first. Somehow. I mean, of course, I don't know.
Or maybe
his
he wanted
past
to
like
pop
they
his
should,
cherry.
make the body cam activate when the gun is out of the holster or something like that.
automatically.
Or just
Like
be
it
on the
just-
whole
yeah.
time.
Yeah, it
just
should be on the whole time. Can't those memory sticks record the whole day?
It should.
Days
I
worth?
mean, even the conversations they have in their car, like, yeah, that should all be. And I get
Yeah.
it. People have rights, but like when you have jobs, sometimes you lose those rights. And when your job can dictate how you treat fellow citizens and hold their life in your hands, like,
Yeah,
I
if
feel
you-
like your rights aren't as important.
If you have the power to kill, then you need to be watched even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's why I think the medium solution
called
would
checks
be
and
the-
balances.
Would be
That's
like the gun.
Supposedly what our
Trigger.
country's
literally.
founded on.
Usually when there's like these shootings involved with police or something, you'd always see comments on the videos or articles of people who are like on the cop side. Well, they must have done something or this. But I see on your TikTok, nobody is supporting the cop here.
Yeah, it's because I made sure I got every detail to make sure that like she did nothing wrong. And even like in Yong Yang's case, people are like, but he was holding a knife. It's like, watch the video. He wasn't being threatening or violent in any way.
Yeah. And in this one,
That's
she's
what
not
it
even
is,
holding
right?
a
Yeah.
knife. She's holding a freaking jug.
I mean, I
Right.
think when you're holding a hand, it means that you're not going to attack, right?
Right.
Somehow, like you're more of on a
Correct.
defensive
For Yong Yang.
position.
Yeah.
And in her case, probably she was holding it up. I mean, but it doesn't say, right? It doesn't show whether she was
It
just
doesn't
holding
say,
that water bottle thing up. Oh yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't seem like it says that she was holding it non-threateningly. So I'm assuming it wasn't.
she was just holding it.
Well,
I
she
guess,
could have
right?
just been holding it. She could have been hugging it. Maybe
So
it
if
wasn't a 5
somebody-
gallon. Maybe it was just a water bottle.
If somebody
you know?
was holding a cell phone and the officer feel a little bit threatened, he can shoot that.
No, they
person,
literally
right?
can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything they can consider
Anything.
a weapon,
Yep.
right?
If you can throw it and it hits them, technically it's a weapon. So like even when people are like always film the police and you can, well they can shoot you for it. Look, hopefully you're recording, and hopefully you don't die.
Okay. Well, on August 7th, the Korean American Association of New Jersey, along with Lee's family attorney, held a press conference demanding the release of the body cam footage and a transparent investigation by state authorities. They voiced the collective disbelief and a fury of a community that feels betrayed by those meant to serve them, stating, "It is incomprehensible that the police used lethal force in response to a family's call for an ambulance to transport their loved one to the hospital. This is a tragic event that defies common sense. And the role of the police is to protect and serve, not to inflict harm on those who are most vulnerable. This tragic event underscores the urgent need for comprehensive reform in how law enforcement interacts with individuals experiencing mental health crises. It is not only a failure of protocol, but a failure of humanity." That's by Moo Young
I
Lee.
think
Yeah, I think
shouldn't call
I
the
think I know
police.
why there were no comments defending the cop. And it's like they literally called for the ambulance and got a cop.
I mean,
Broke
once
in.
you call the police, I think anybody can be, shot dead. That's, I think, how we should assume every single time.
Yeah, you know, on July the 4th, 3 guys broke into my mom's home. And
By the 4th.
July the 4th. I guess my mom went to sleep kind of early and the lights were off, and maybe they thought, oh, they must be out partying or something. So they went in the back, and then my mom heard a noise. And anyway, the dog started barking and this, and they eventually ran away. But we did call the police, and I was so paranoid because my sister was like running out, like, I think they're there. I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
Be very calm. Don't make any sudden movements. They might shoot you dead. Stuff like that. I said, watch out for the dogs because the dogs were barking crazy. I'm like, they might shoot the dogs. They were cool though, but you never know. And
I'm
So
surprised they even came out for that. I've had people whose houses were broken into in West Hollywood,
Yeah, they
and the
didn't wanna
cops didn't even
show
show up.
yeah, surprisingly, it was only like 40 minutes it took compared to before when
Thank God no one's
somebody
life was in
broke in. It
danger.
took about 3-4 hours for somebody to show
That
up.
sounds about right.
And you know what they said that day was that they had gotten a lot of calls. Like it looked like maybe the same guys were going around to lots of houses.
Oh,
And then I recently saw a
same
video on Instagram of these 3 guys breaking into a house and stealing a safe. That it looked like the same guys that were at my mom's place. You
Might
know?
have even been the same guys that broke into at least one, if not multiple times at my friend's house. My friend, literally, the cops didn't do anything. He got spikes installed all around the perimeter of his home, like right past the fence. So if someone climbed the fence and jumped over, they would get impaled. And he has like 4 or 5 different rows of it, like right behind the fence, like right on top of, right behind the pool
it
fence.
reminds me of
And,
like a game called like Prince of Persia.
No,
It's
literally,
like
yeah.
Jumping over.
He kept
spikes.
being like, "Oh, I installed these spikes," and I was like, "I'm not computing what you mean." And he took out the photos, and I was like, "Holy shit!" I was like, "You literally installed these like
Gatling guns.
Yeah.
Just like,
Yeah, but has he checked I looked into the stuff like that too for home security at my place, and it said if
It's
you
illegal.
could get in serious trouble.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, because I wanted to set up like Viet Cong style booby traps when I lived in the desert.
Booby traps are illegal.
Yeah.
Illegal.
you know what they say? You want to be either judged by 12 or carried by 6.
But I think if you maybe put a sign on your fence that says "dangerous spikes" on the other side, maybe it's
Oh.
not a booby trap because you gave them a
Heads up.
heads
I
up.
don't know.
Yeah, like fine
puts
print.
up?
Yeah.
I did have lots of signs saying like, showing guns, like you're going to get shot if you trespass, or this property protected by the Second Amendment,
Be
stuff
like,
Is
like
that,
that.
is that legal?
Be like,
Can we put
The
those
signs?
you
Well, this
can.
was in the desert, so I don't know. I had a bunch of signs.
That's
on
the
there.
Wild West. Anything goes there.
A lot of break-ins out there too.
Really?
I
Yeah,
would think so,
because
because it's in the middle of the desert.
all the
so-
properties are like on minimum 2 acres, and the cops will take forever. So
Right.
they can. It was pretty
And
common.
And
that's-
there's a disparity of wealth out in the desert too.
And
a lot
that's
of people are poor.
those
out
are one
there.
of the main
why
reasons
it's
for
Mad Max
the
out
Second
there.
Amendment. You know, like in the countryside, when you call the cops, it takes them hours to come out. So that's why they say they need the guns themselves.
Yeah. So let me see if the sign.
America.
Don't show this. Don't show this yet. But oh, is there a way to hide my address? My old address.
You can just
Yeah, what happens if
raise
you
a
delete it
number,
right now?
Just to raise
Just
a number,
put
right?
put the window to the side.
No, just delete it.
Oh, like this.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So here you can see this is where I used to live. I sold this last year, but I guess. Oh, this is when I still had it. So I had a protected by
Oh, you have
shotgun
that
sign. I had that storage container here.
Damn, you lived out there. There, I see
don't live there.
nothing
You
but your
sold it?
house.
Yeah, I sold it, and then
Then why do you care if
Like,
someone
like
knows the
so
address?
countryside.
You can look up information.
well,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
and then here's another one. I don't know. That's the Second Amendment sign.
Second
You
Amendment.
can kind of see a gun, right?
I can see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to. I even
like
put
that
that
or
red
a
fence up
pile of
here,
poop or
and I
something
wanted
coming out
to
of it.
create like pits with the for people to get
Yeah, yeah,
impaled. Yeah, I wanted to set that
No,
up.
booby
but-
traps are very illegal in America.
Okay. Well, hopefully your friend doesn't, because he's gonna stop the criminal, but he's gonna get in serious trouble if they get seriously hurt. So,
Well, it beats
don't
not
know.
being dead, I guess.
I mean,
4 times. The one time he was coming out of the shower and he said he was like looking in the mirror and noticed that someone was in his room staring at him naked, and he was like, "What the fuck?"
someone was in his room.
Wait, this is West Hollywood?
Yeah,
Is this like a mansion or an apartment or?
decently big house.
Oh, okay. Is it one of those nice new fancy?
I don't know. I haven't been there technically.
Oh, okay.
Only seen photos of it.
It's time to
with
move to Asia, guys.
Spikes coming out everywhere.
Yeah. Well, what do we do?
I saw this recent video. There was this guy saying, "I'm moving to Malaysia." He was this guy from the San Francisco or whatever, and here's why.
And what was the reason?
Just like saying that Kuala Lumpur is, a nice modern city. Its cost of living is much lower. All the laundry list of things that I've
Right.
been talking about.
Biggest con: you have to learn a whole new language, which is really hard.
Well, he is Chinese, so
Oh, okay, okay.
he was saying like it'll be nice to also teach my kids Chinese or whatever.
So, you wanted to go to Malaysia? you
Yeah.
said? Malaysia, don't they speak English?
They speak,
Yeah, they do,
multiple
right?
languages.
Yeah, they do. I think a lot of Koreans go to Malaysia
It's not like
to learn
Singapore, where Singapore, it's English is lingua
Predominant,
franca
yeah,
there.
yeah.
It's like the official
Yeah, yeah,
language.
yeah.
It's not just common. Malaysia does have a lot of because they are both English colonies, but a significant amount of Malay and Chinese.
Hong Kong too, right? They speak predominantly English.
Well, yeah,
there.
because they were a
Yeah.
British colony until 1997.
English. I think they
so,
speak both English and Chinese these days.
Yeah, I think more Mandarin these days.
More Mandarin.
I mean, they're still obviously Cantonese, but I think a lot of people are transitioning over to just Mandarin.
Mandarin.
Yeah, Asian Americans have been. There's been an uptick in buying guns actually since the pandemic.
Yeah.
I think we're the biggest target
I bought my first gun in.
for
Oh,
gun-
during the pandemic.
Yeah,
for gun companies are targeting Asian Americans now for that reason.
it's smart. I think. I mean, we talked about starting a gun business ourselves,
Oh yeah, right. No, we didn't. I have no. What are you talking
or
about?
I had ideas of starting a gun business, and I presented it.
Yeah. Anyway, so we hope justice is served, but
Yeah, I mean, the
in
more
regards to
eyes and
Victoria
people
Lee-
talk about it, the more anger and
Veronica
uprise
Lee.
there is, then the more likelihood for
Victoria.
accountability.
But we'll see what happens with Yong Yang.
Or I guess maybe like even just like a push within the Korean American community there of like trying to vote.
All I'm
for
hoping is for
police
Yong Yang is that Gascon is pushed out before the decision on Yong Yang is finalized. Whatever
Oh, why
that
do you think?
looks
What do you
like.
think Gascon is going to decide?
I don't think he's going to do anything.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and yeah, so we hope justice is served and things change and this doesn't happen again because this is too much. And yeah. All right.
Tragic.
Any final comments on that? No. All right. Thanks, Ed, for the
Yeah, of course.
report. I'm sure you'll keep up to date and keep us
Yeah.
on.
Any cops ever want to think about doing that again, this face is going to haunt you.
Yeah, you're going to be seen by millions on TikTok if Ed comes after you. Okay. So let's move on to our next topic. We have about 25 minutes left. We're going to finish by 60 today.
Okay.
Okay.
Like on the
No 1
dot.
hour plus.
Let's try to
All
finish
right, let's
right
stop
on the
talking
dot.
about just
Fried Chicken Dinner says that is incorrect.
Yeah. So the Olympics just finished, right?
Just finished.
Did it?
Korea's
I don't
number.
know.
South Korea is
I
number
never
8.
watched the Olympics. to
I
be
watched
honest.
3
it's
minutes of
hard.
it,
It's
and it
so
was
hard
archery.
in America.
so
Unless you
boring.
have NBC,
So boring.
or unless
like-
you're subscribed to
Who
Peacock, you
cares?
can't.
No one cares.
I mean, lots of people care,
Watch it.
but if you watch it in the highlights, it doesn't feel the same as watching it as it happens in real life.
True.
But then
It should be
real life
live.
version is so boring.
Is it?
Like I
feel
watched
like-
archery. My roommate was watching archery, I should say, and like I watched a couple minutes of it, and then I came back 3 hours later, and I was like,
Are you still doing it?
"It's still going on." I was like, "Oh my god, is that the same Korean archer?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "There's just a lot of them." I was like, "Holy shit!"
I feel like it was a lot more important when it was more political.
I think it was.
especially-
I think it was a lot more important before the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like after the fall of the Soviet Union, like it kind of became quote unquote boring because like, oh well, now we're all friends and whatever.
Yeah, it used to be a
And
US
now
versus
now
US,
it's
yeah,
you know
USSR.
that we're starting this Cold War with China. Now it's like, you know, intrigue and all these drama stories of like drug testing and all this other crap or whatever. You know, like
I think
And
people just
Russia
don't
was
care.
also not there, so it is still political.
Yeah,
very
it is still
yeah.
political, but I think because of the internet and because our attention is being diverted 1,000 different ways, whereas back in the day it was like
well, that's also
it's like you literally twiddle your thumbs.
that's more of a general
or you
function.
watch the Olympics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But like I remember not caring about the
but-
Olympics ever.
Oh, you
like,
never?
even as a kid.
I think
Yeah, I
in
didn't.
South Korea it was always a huge deal. You know, everybody was glued to those
Yeah,
two.
because we were a developing
And-
nation at the time. We're like, this is where
and
we can
also-
show the
And
world.
You also, had
yeah.
a nation that was north of you that you were competing with
And it's
to
different.
desperately
yeah.
show that you were, you know,
Yeah.
superior to.
And it was different. It's different from here because they show it to all broadcasting. You know, like NBC, KBS. and
Oh,
it's not
yeah,
like
you're
those.
right, you're right.
NBC just have one
Yep,
channel
yep, yep.
dominate. So it's easy. It's much
Yeah,
more
because
easy
it's
to
like
access
look
it,
how
but now it's so
look how
difficult, right?
superior we are to the north.
No, actually, you know, when I was in Korea, I don't think South Koreans were like competing against North Korea. It was more against like Japan or other Asian nations.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
by the
'cause
time
think-
you were growing up, then
Yeah, because North Korea.
But if you were talking
North
about
Korea
like the
wasn't doing that
1950s,
well, like
1960s.
Ever.
starting from the 80s.
Yeah.
Probably prior to that, it was like that.
Yeah, so from the 50s to 70s, North Korea was better than South Korea. So there was
really?
that.
They were.
Yeah, so
Ec-
there was that
economically.
anxiety. Yeah, they were doing much better actually until 1970s.
Oh, yeah,
South Korea
right
was
after the
very
war, right,
anxious about North Korea, being
Yeah.
economically more developed. So that's why they
It really
were,
wasn't until
doing a lot of
the
behind-the-scenes
70s when it started to even out a bit, and then 80s they started
Yeah.
to pull away.
South Korea was really. I mean,
You're not going to hit that 6.
South Korea was dirt poor back in the day.
We will.
Yeah, but
Yeah, so we
they did number 8. Just wanted to.
Number 8?
Number 8. They're ranked number 8 for this.
South Korea?
Olympics.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So
Yeah, I
it's
just
their-
combined
it's their
North
best
Korea and
ever.
South Korea.
You know what I
That's
saw
what
at the Olympics?
That's what I use as Korea.
You know who did better than India's got 1.4 billion-ish people? You know who did better than them?
China.
North Korea.
Oh.
Now,
with its 25 million.
yeah, India's got like 50 times the population, but North Korea did better. I think they got like 1 extra silver than. But India had no gold. I think it was like 2 silvers versus North Korea, like 3, something like
North
that.
Korea also crushes math Olympics.
Is it racist to say that India, we have this impression that they're super good at math, but I don't get the impression that they're really
I don't think there was an ever.
were they ever like really good
Didn't
at
they
those?
create math?
They created math.
No, you're
They
talking
created
about-
numbers.
you're talking
India
about
India
Arabic.
created numbers.
No,
No,
that's
but,
the Arabic system.
what about
Yeah.
maths?
Arabic,
Mathematics.
or Arabia or Persia, or whatever?
but what's
they
their s-
created the number system that we use today and algebra.
Yeah,
And
what's
the
a,
Asians perfect.
what's a sport that they excel in? Like Koreans excel in
like
like
Arabic
archery.
people?
I'm talking about
Indians?
Oh, cricket,
Oh, cricket. You're right. they're good
maybe
at cricket.
polo.
Okay.
Some of those English things.
Hey, wasn't the
British
Pakistani
sports.
president a cricket player? What's his name? Pakistan president?
Rishi Sunak?
No, the guy.
Oh.
Shit, not this guy. The guy before.
I don't fucking know. Cricket is all I know that Indian people care about.
Damn
thing
it.
about like baseball looks
Yeah,
like
they don't care
baseball.
about anything else but cricket.
Imran Khan, that was
I
it.
do love cricket. I
Pakistan
thought it was just
former
British Indians, to be honest. But I think
I mean,
you're
there.
right.
I mean, it all was British.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
By the way, what's a
150
what's a
years
what's a
ago.
jeet?
it's a shortening of Pajit, which is a pejorative for Indian.
Why do you use that then?
Well, it's more of like a pejorative for Indian people who are like super ultra nationalist, because it's kind of like, what are you proud about?
So that term is
Being
something that
Indian.
we
What do you mean?
shouldn't.
But
They have a lot
also
to be
it's
proud about. Their
because-
food is delicious.
You know, when
food?
October
Had it
Do you
last
like Indian
night.
food?
when
The curry?
October 7th
I love Indian
happened,
food.
a lot of Indian people on Twitter were praising Israel and being like, "Oh, like Israel, we will defend Israel," just because they hate Muslims.
I remember that. Yeah.
So like
And then Israelis were saying, "We don't want your stinky
exactly.
whatever."
So that's why like it's even yeah.
So that term is something that we
Racism.
shouldn't use in public, right?
I mean, I don't care.
It doesn't sound
No,
that good.
I'm saying it
It's
because
it's making fun of a specific type of Indian person. It's not making fun of
It's
like
not a
Indian-
racial thing.
Okay.
so it's not race
It's
related.
more like a political racial
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
So still don't.
So it's okay to use it.
I mean, I don't give a fuck.
No,
But
because
Doug also has
I'm
no
not-
say over if it's offensive or not. So
Yeah,
don't listen
I'm
to
not.
Doug.
Obviously, I'm not in the political correct zone ever, so I don't give a fuck about
Yeah, I'm
okay.
probably
what's allowed.
The
or what's-
usage
not gonna listen to Doug. on
standard
that.
is pretty much Howard Stern.
Everything
right?
that it's allowed by the First Amendment is what I'll say.
But like nothing
Richard
turns my day
Pryor.
around better than a mango lassi. Lassi?
oh
Angulassi.
yeah, if
And a
it's
chicken tikka
yeah,
masala.
if they're good,
As
yeah.
basic as it is, yes.
Actually, that's apparently England's like national food.
Yeah.
Butter chicken.
No, chicken tikka masala. They actually literally
so-
list it.
Well,
What I heard was
It's like
Korean,
Americans
butter
and tacos.
chicken.
Americans think tacos are American.
Mexican.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
are some Americans who think that it's American food.
No, there's Americans who think tacos are
Their own.
American.
Wow.
Yeah.
Burgers are German, but you
That's
think
true.
that it's
yeah.
American.
America doesn't have their own, right? Do they?
we have
do they
our pancakes
oh,
American.
pancakes are American.
I feel like that
I feel
Dutch
like
or something.
corn dogs. Everything on
Corn
No,
dogs.
corn
We have
dog-
corn
everything
dogs.
unhealthy.
No,
is
corn dog
American.
is from South Korea. I thought.
No, South Koreans just love
Just
corn dogs.
Corn-
But I think
I mean, I
hot
thought
dogs
corn
in
dogs- I thought we
no, hot
developed
dogs
it.
are derived from sausages which came from.
But actually, South Korea's corn dog is different from that.
Germany-
you know how it is.
Yeah,
It
a
does
lot of-
say places of origin United States on Wikipedia. Wikipedia though, you know.
You're talking about corn dog.
Yeah.
How about cereal?
I think ice cream.
How
comes
about
from
cereal?
America.
Cereal.
Buffalo wings.
No,
I know for a
ice
fact
cream-
buffalo wings are from America.
Ice cream is from America. That's what I heard.
The greasy, sizzling, cheesy beef patty originated in other than the U.S.
But
Cheeseburgers.
then why is there a place called Hamburg?
Hamburg.
That's what I heard.
Maybe
They
somebody
created
from
the
Hamburg.
steak
Hamburg steak.
I heard
Okay.
that It all came from Hamburg.
Americans put it in bread. Okay.
and put cheese on it.
So we got buffalo wings, corn dogs, Reuben sandwiches.
Oh man, Reuben's one of my
pie.
favorite sandwiches.
I didn't know
Chocolate
until
chip cookie?
recently that
Lobster
bagels
rolls.
were Polish
Brownie.
Jewish made
Yeah,
from Polish.
What was Jewish?
Bagels?
yeah,
Oh, bagels.
Bagels
Yeah,
are made
right.
by
By
figured.
Polish Jews.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Ranch, very American.
okay, Philly cheesesteak. It has to be Philadelphia, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Until you make a bulgogi Philadelphia cheesesteak, which
So-
I do.
Tater tots too.
Oh,
I ate Philly
the
cheesesteak
superior
last week.
fry.
In my tots.
All right, so this is the American, Korean. We got kimchi jjigae, galbichim. We
I
got
just gained 10 pounds
naengmyeon.
reading that list, by the way.
Spam jjigae.
There's nothing on that
Yeah,
list that
it's like,
isn't grossly fattening.
There's got to be one thing that's.
I love them all, but they're fattening. Lobster rolls, the only way to do it is smothered in butter.
Pecan pie minus the pie.
Soylent.
Or all the sugar in it.
Don't we? Didn't
Probably
we?
cheeseburger is an American food when you.
Most Americans love to make it with corn syrup, which is even worse.
Oh, the pecan pie.
Yeah, I hate it when it tastes like corn
It
syrup.
says cheeseburger, right? I guess hamburger is made in Germany, and then they just
Oh,
put
they
a
added a
cheese in
cheese
there,
on it,
and then
so-
we made it American.
That's their invention.
No, I think they took the Hamburg steak and then put it on a bun with cheese.
Okay. Oh, so America
I
was the
think.
they put the bun. Okay.
But we
they did
don't
some
know.
work. They did some work.
But we don't know.
You
It's
gotta give
it's
some
like
credit.
it's like the it's
Isn't
like
that
who
50?
originated General Tso's chicken. Like there's like
General
10 different
Tso.
people who like claim they did. So it's like
It's obviously Panda Express.
Panda Express.
Oh,
they
there's
actually don't serve General Tso.
When I go to China, I'll go to Panda Express.
you would find those Americanized Chinese
Wait,
foods.
we didn't even talk about why you brought up the Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
60
So,
minutes,
that's good.
definitely not
All right.
happening.
We'll,
About the China-America
Wait.
controversy.
Is
dumping
there
scandal.
Panda Express
In China?
No.
First off,
I bet there must be.
it
if you
has.
go to-
There is no.
what
The
if we
answer
go
is no.
to China and open a, like, what do we call it? Like Eagle Express, or I don't know.
And just like,
It's just like corn dogs and tater tots
but all the mini
and,
ones.
and ranch and gravy.
Yeah, just mini
Sliders.
versions, so we can slop them onto plates. And tacos, apparently.
Yeah, tacos too. Eagle Express. Okay. All right. So yeah, Olympics. Looks like the United States of America and China both won 40 golds. So congratulations to the top
Wow.
two gold.
There's
That's a
earners.
lot of gold.
So they're co-number one, right?
Well,
they share
America
the first place.
did technically win more medals.
Oh.
They did, but
Okay.
if you include Hong Kong and Chinese Taipei,
Oh, that's true.
then you could say the Chinese have more golds than the
China won.
U.S.
You're right.
Oh shit!
Japan
Are
actually
they
won
always
20.
gonna come out
That's pretty
separately, Hong Kong?
impressive.
Are they gonna always not go with China?
Well, officially 2047, the handover is
Oh, it's,
complete. So it's a
complete,
50-year
okay.
handover period from
Okay, yeah,
1997 to 2047.
So Great Britain has some say still regarding Hong
I
Kong.
mean, very
You
tenuous.
know, right?
It's more of like they don't really have a say. It's more like
It's more like a
it's
formality,
the
right?
transitory period because
Yeah.
like they don't want like a hard fucking plunge into communism, I guess, or whatever.
So in 2047, that's when
Officially,
it will
Hong
no
Kong,
longer be
yeah,
two
not an SIR.
two systems, one state.
It'll officially be absorbed into
Okay.
China.
And then Hong Kong laws will be like the mainland.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think. I mean, that's what the 50-year.
Well, weren't they protesting like 5 years
right.
ago about
That's
the
true.
the protesters? A lot of it was due to like economic concerns, right? Like living and
Wait,
all
which
that.
what
5 years ago in Hong Kong, the
that
umbrella
was
people.
due to
The lawsuit. I mean the.
yeah, there was a murder
Lawsuit,
that
yeah,
happened, and basically what happened was like there was, I think it was like a Taiwanese person in Hong Kong.
That's
who
right.
killed his
They
girlfriend
subpoenaed, right?
And then went to Taiwan and wanted him to be extradited back to China for prosecution.
Oh.
But they didn't because there was no law in place for that. So in place of that, China made an extradition law. And then like Hong Kong was like, this is like a
that was-
slippery slope. This is encroachment on our rights and blah, blah, blah. And blew it up into this whole
All that to
ridiculous mess.
protect that guy who killed his girlfriend.
Yeah.
So the murderer, he was in Hong Kong, huh?
I think he murdered the person in Hong Kong or something
Okay.
and then fled to Taiwan.
Yeah, that was the situation. And they subpoenaed and they refused, and there was a back and forth regarding.
I don't
that,
know if
right?
they subpoenaed, but they wanted, obviously they wanted him extradited back to
Right.
whatever.
It is true. Japan won 20 gold. Wow, how did they do that? That's amazing. With only like 110
Japan is
million
number
people.
I mean,
three.
they're pretty economic.
But it's also amazing that Australia, with only like 20 million or 30 million, whatever,
It's
they
all
have
about
18.
like your.
Well, I mean, it's
because I think-
it's surprising how many golds you can win when you bring shame to your family. Otherwise,
I mean,
Well, also it's economics, right? Like, obviously, if you're a rich country, you can participate in these rich.
Yeah, you can
events.
you can afford to.
Australia's
yeah.
good at
whatever.
and Australia's good at swimming, and there's a lot of medals in.
I'll tell you what
medal
Australia's
pool
not
there.
good at: breakdancing.
Oh, are they not good at it? Aussies are not good at that.
Yeah, after
That's what everyone's gonna remember from these Olympics. You guys didn't watch that?
I didn't.
That
watch it, but
female
I heard
breakdancer.
about it.
I watched it, and
It was
I thought, is this a joke?
Embarrassing
Or,
thing I've ever seen.
But they were not.
She's literally flailing on the ground at one point. She's like pretending to be a
Did you
kangaroo.
see that thing afterwards where they were
so
like,
ridiculous.
due to she's having a mental health crisis due to people making fun of her.
Who do people making fun of her?
oh, really? Yeah.
I mean, that's not good, but
But-
her country should not have let her compete.
I think the winner was
think it's funny.
the male breakdancing winner I saw was like a Philip Kim or something. He's for Korean Canadian.
Yep, Korean.
That's
Canadian.
that's a Korean medal.
It is.
I'm
Yeah,
claiming
but-
it for Korea.
And then the guy he went up against
Fuck Canada.
I think it was France, and it was a black guy breakdancing for France. But I watched the battle between them, and I'm like, you know what? I've seen crazier, wilder moves from just Korean b-boys, like regular dudes. I'm like, how come they're not in the Olympics? They would have kicked all these asses.
Yeah, I don't know what the regulations are for the Olympics.
Yeah, it seemed
If
like
you
a
have to be
joke.
within a certain style or thing. Maybe like freestyle isn't
Like figure
allowed.
skating.
Yeah.
Let's check out other communist countries, not just China.
All I know is that
Well,
this is the
North
first
Korea.
year that refugees also competed in the
Yeah.
Olympics, and they won a bronze medal.
Yeah, refugee
Refugees.
Olympic team. They're
Yep.
ranked 84 out of, or a bunch of countries tied for 84.
But it was their first time, and
Looks
they
like
got
refugees
one.
together.
There's
right?
about 91.
Israel's allowed to compete, of course.
Was this the first time they did that?
Don't take
Refugee
away from the
Olympic team?
refugees. They won a
Israel.
boxing bronze.
Well, Israel only got 1 gold. Look at India here.
Yeah, they don't have a gold.
This populous country, but they do have 1 silver and 5 bronze, and they got the silver in what is athletics? Just athletics?
Maybe like
What the
think
fuck
like,
is athletic?
you know, like
Oh, javelin throw.
Oh, that's pretty athletic. Yep. I see your
Niraj Chopra. Oops. Damn this.
Deepak Chopra.
the modern Olympics. I
Dang.
think started in 1896 in Greece.
But
Wait,
countries like
Greece, yeah.
Lithuania,
There
North
was-
Korea,
There's
North
summer
Korea.
hockey.
North Korea didn't get
It's
a
not
gold
ice
this
hockey.
time. Man,
I'm not
they
sure.
usually get one.
they got a bronze
Field
in
hockey?
boxing, silver and
cricket
bronze
hockey.
in
Table tennis.
diving, table tennis silver, and 2 bronzes in wrestling.
Wait, who won table tennis gold? Women's
I
team.
would think it would be China.
Yeah. But anyway,
Well, it was the American team, which was all Chinese people.
Was it Chinese Americans?
It's funny because like there's always a meme when they like have the math Olympiad.
Yeah.
Because like the American team is all like Asian people, and then they put the same thing for the American.
And it's so ridiculous because they
ping
don't do
pong.
that for any other sport or any other race at all. You know what I mean? If you look at like France's basketball team, like they're not a bunch of white dudes.
Yeah.
you know what I find this so trippy that India's ranked like right at the bottom, like
Probably they don't care.
10%.
about
They don't
care.
athletics, right?
They don't
care about
care.
No, but
athletics.
how
like,
can I
probably
mean
like Olympics?
you're talking such a huge population,
1.4
thousands of years of
billion.
history. They've, some great religions or whatever, Hinduism, Buddhism,
Gandhi.
Jainism,
But
mathematics.
all of those religions are against the self, right?
Oh, good point.
So like if you're an athlete, that kind of goes against that religion. You're like,
Yeah, you're an athlete to be an athlete, but you're not an athlete to like compete
Correct.
and show your greatness.
yeah.
or whatever.
So I don't think they invest in those type of
But
individual sports.
they
for
do
that.
So
believe
that
in
goes
caste
against
system
their
stuff,
Hindu.
so-
That goes against Hindu. Those kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah,
self-average,
and also Buddhism.
Yeah.
But they also
Dragon.
chose, okay, but all right, not just that, but the other thing is, now this brings me to like, I like to compare India and China sometimes because they're next to each other. They were both very poor, similar population, different political systems. And when I see Indian street food videos, have you seen them?
no.
Unfortunately, yes.
I saw something.
I'm just
I'm
like,
scared.
it's
Why?
another world there. I'm talking like mango juice, right? They got all these glasses, they're constantly making the juice and they pass them out. Somebody drinks from the glass, they take it, they just rinse it and then fill it up
I
again.
have seen that.
Yeah, don't take a mango lassi there. That's for sure.
Or the other thing is, like a thali plate, with all the combination of like rice and curries and all that. Someone's done eating. I saw like them just rinsing the pan in the
In the river.
or just on the sidewalk, right where the gutter is, just rinsing it off real quick. The water looks brown, but when they rinse it off, then it looks clean again. But I'm just like,
It's a different
I don't know.
standard of
They're
living.
Why is it
also,
so- why are
also
they so
their
different?
their stomachs have gotten used to a lot of the pathogens.
I would
now.
lose 50 pounds.
Yeah, while
diarrhea.
if we went there, we would have to take malaria pills and like
Yeah, you
Yeah,
have to
my-
take malaria pills.
drink bottled
malaria
water
pills.
all the time. Don't drink.
Yeah.
I was told never to
Oh,
drink.
in
tap
India,
water.
right?
Like Mexico.
my
Only bottled
my
water.
Singaporean friend warned me. He said, if you go to India, you're gonna get. He calls it deli belly.
That sounds funny.
So
Deli.
Am I the only one
I got
that
it.
laughed?
Because of the
I got
food.
it.
I'm the only one that laughed.
well, and he says it with his accent, deli belly. Anyway,
I do want to go to I have a friend who lives in
Like Taj
Dhaka,
Mahal.
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's really excited about the revolution. He says it's grassroots oriented and
Really?
yeah.
There was a article that came out in December where Russia was accusing the U.S. of trying to overthrow Bangladesh.
I don't know. My guy tells me that it's
Interesting.
that it's grassroots and organic and there's
And
no
he's
ties to
and
the
he's
CIA.
like a communist too, or
He's more of a
lib.
economic developer.
Okay. Economic developer.
So he, obviously he's basically trying to help Bangladesh develop its economy. He comes from a tech finance background in America.
That's how you know him.
But so he grew up here and then he moved to Dhaka to kind of like help with that kind
He's
of stuff.
Bangladeshi though.
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Is he Muslim?
I don't think so. I think he's atheist. I'm not sure
Okay.
though. Don't quote me on that. He's really into Asian film though,
Asian film,
like Korean
like
film.
Korean film.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a
Sounds
lot of people
ominous.
into Korean film these
I originally
days.
thought you
He
meant
said
porn.
Bangladesh
Yeah,
is like
JV.
the Korea of the South Asia because
Bangladesh is a Korea
India
of
and
South
Pakistan are the big two, and China and Japan are the big two in there, and we're like the up and coming
The third wheel.
the up and coming third wheel, I guess.
I don't know. I
Anyway.
think we're surpassing Japan soon in culture wars.
Cultural, culture wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Japanese food, I want to say, is,
Mid.
it's, somebody said it, and I was like, you know what, I agree. And they said,
It's good, but it's not as good as it's priced.
I love sushi,
right, but
but that's like pretty much it.
what I read was, and I agreed, it said, Japanese food is the white people food of Asia. I was like, it is.
I mean, they literally tried to be the white people of Asia. So
But I
Tracks.
love Japanese curry,
I do love Japanese.
Japanese food
tonkatsu,
is good. Yeah.
ramen. But yeah, if I'm
Sushi.
gonna, I prefer like Korean barbecue over like Japanese yakiniku or whatever.
'Cause yakiniku is from Korean. They acknowledge that.
Oh, okay.
Japanese
I mean,
acknowledge it.
there's a lot
That
of
it comes from
similarities
Korea.
between Japanese and Korean culture, and a lot of that obviously comes
I
from
wonder
the
why.
occupation period. Yeah, but
They stole it.
Anyway, Cuba got 2 golds. That's amazing in boxing and wrestling, fighting,
If they had baseball,
I
they
think
would
they
have
always
gotten
have
it.
like a lot of
and a bronze in taekwondo.
boxing stuff.
Okay.
Cuba's good at taekwondo.
Denmark, a nation of only like
Wait,
5
why
million.
don't they have baseball? In
They
Olympics?
only have it whenever no, because France doesn't want it. Paris didn't want it. Yeah, but
Wait,
they're not
countries
good at
can
it.
just
countries
deny.
can decide. Countries can decide because baseball
That's
is not like a
ridiculous.
I mean,
permanent.
they have
sport.
to be able to
There's some sports that are
provide the
permanent.
resource for
yeah,
it.
And
Oh, so
yeah,
they don't have baseball
Uh-huh.
fields.
They don't have any. I don't think they have pro baseball teams either.
What about soccer? Isn't that
a
that?
different
Soccer is,
sport.
I think,
But is that
they,
not-
there
is
is
that
an
not
Olympic.
Olympic?
They
There,
got World Cup for that, I think.
Oh,
no, even Olympic, they have it.
well,
They
that's
Oh,
have
they
just like
do?
why do we
Yeah,
have
they
a
do.
basketball event then?
But I think South Korea couldn't make the qualifications this time.
Anyway, this Chinese
so
has the
he
most
got
medals.
6 medals,
Zhang
huh?
Yufei. He didn't get any golds though. Oh, it's a woman.
Lots of bronze.
She's a good swimmer,
5.
just like Lanny June.
She's consistent at least, She's consistently third.
Getting there.
Consistently third, yeah. And then
Did
a
you hear
bunch
about
of,
that Romanian who had her medal returned or something?
Why? What happened?
Well, basically, like her medal was taken from her because like some American judge kind of like or American person like complained to the judges or something, so they overturned it and took away her medal. But then they reversed that, so like the Romanian gets back the medal instead of the
funny.
American. So
Simone Biles is now the most decorated gymnast in the world.
Wow.
Or in America?
Okay.
One of the other.
Why is she getting the most?
Oh,
She's
shit, we got 2 minutes. All right.
She's really good.
Okay.
This is like I think this is
I
her
see her
fourth
all the
Olympic,
time.
which means
Oh,
that
is
she's
this
been
her fourth?
Yeah, which means she's been doing it for like 16 years.
12 years since
Look at these fucking archers.
first the.
Technically, yes.
But yeah, more
she
than
got
that
3
because
golds,
like
right, this
obviously
time
she has to
too.
train before that.
Is she gonna
Go
come
away.
out next time too?
I don't know. But that's really
Gymnastics,
old.
right?
It's not even just for the Olympics, but for gymnastics. Gymnastics is
gymnastics
one of the
usually-
really
you just
young
go on,
sports.
like, yeah, exactly.
25-ish.
Oh my god!
You
If
don't
not
even go
before
second.
that.
There is no second time around. Usually,
Yeah,
you know,
usually it's like
a
one,
time, right?
maybe twice,
Yeah.
like, and
Okay.
your first time
Wow.
is like when you're like 14, 15.
So there's
It's like
no reason
K-pop.
for that.
Okay. All right. Let's go real quick. We got 90 seconds.
It's temporary.
All right, let's go real quick. Congrats to all 400 out of the 650 U.S. athletes suffer from asthma and are allowed to take "quote-unquote" medicine.
Oh,
It had
right.
nothing to do with this incredible mutual victory.
This was the reason why we brought this up.
Let's go on. Let's. I'm going to go through this. U.S. society has major health problems, especially with asthma. Almost 80% of the U.S. population have asthma. Among 600 U.S. Olympic participants, 450 registered to have asthma. Hence, they are exempted from dope tests. Even if some U.S. medal winners tested positive, they could be just waived as just food poisoning. And yes, China and Russia have doping problems. U.S. No. Wait, what? If you can beat them, then if you can't beat them, then cheat, lie, have asthma. And well, I don't know what Russian athletes
So
doping.
according to that, you can be
okay.
doing doping.
I
right?
mean, I think it's a little fucked
by-
up to put random
and you
people's
can use asthma as
photos
an
on
Yeah.
something
huh?
like that because you're implying that they were.
Yeah, right. I don't think what's that tennis Williams or whatever.
Serena or Venus, which one?
And Shanghai Panda says, joke, 5% of the population has exercise-induced asthma compared to the U.S. Olympic team, which is like 50%.
So what is it? What percent of the American population has asthma? You said something like 7 to 8%.
Was it like 400 out of 650 or something?
So
So is it-
they are
oops.
exempt from doping
No,
tests, huh?
he's asking the general.
60%?
in
Oh, the
America.
general rate, like 5%?
Yeah.
maybe?
So basically, what they're saying is that like 5% of the American population has asthma, but for close to like 65+% of American athletes supposedly have asthma because they don't want to be
Yeah.
tested.
Oh yeah,
for
this
doping.
was the biggest.
Ben Norton, he's a journalist. U.S. allows its athletes to cheat, including at the Olympics. The World Anti-Doping Agency says U.S. agency let athletes use steroids in exchange for spying on other violators. This is the rules-based order. The U.S. violates the rules whenever it's convenient. So there's a scheme whereby the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency allowed athletes who had doped to compete for years. The U.S. scheme threatened the integrity of sporting competition. It was in clear breach of the rules. Athletes who had committed
So-
serious anti-doping rule violations were allowed to continue to compete for years while they acted as undercover agents for USADA. So in one case, an elite-level athlete who competed at Olympic qualifier and international events in the United States admitted to taking steroids and EPO, yet was permitted to continue competing all the way up to
So you know
retirement.
what I think happened?
What happened?
Money.
Basically, last week, we had all these like athletes,
scandal.
especially Michael Phelps, coming up and like, oh yeah, when I was swimming, the Chinese people, they definitely doped. And then like just a few days ago, he recants and he kind of like backpedals to be like, well, it's not fair to say that or whatever. I think this 80, this report is talking about Michael Phelps. saying,
Oh, he
we
was
have
the one.
definite proof
Right.
that he doped. So now he's backpedaling because he's like, I don't want to,
You
you
think
know.
his name is there?
yeah,
The asthma stuff.
as
you
the
know?
WADA.
So if you have
report.
asthma, you can dope. Is that what it's saying in a way?
No,
That's
if you,
how I take
so
it.
I think
That's
some of
how I
the
take
I
it.
think some of the asthma drugs have similar components in there. So if you test them, they're going to test positive.
But doesn't it also give an edge to that particular athlete?
yeah,
whoever takes
so
it,
it's
right?
it's just kind of like
But it's also life. It's a difference between life and death.
It's
If you
like,
don't take it, they can die.
but like I think it's more like 7 years ago, right? When weed was technically legal here, but you had to get a medical whatever.
yeah.
It's kind of like that where you say, "Oh yeah, I have
So
hunger
that
problems.
So that
I
asthma
have
threshold is very low. That's what you're
Yeah,
saying.
but it's like
right?
weird because like you can prove asthma versus like you can't prove anxiety or like
Yeah.
back pain.
Yeah, but you can manufacture a condition, is what I'm saying. Like a
Yeah, I
doctor
guess
could
so.
easily say, "Oh yeah, he has asthma."
So, for instance, if you're an athlete and you're competing in Olympics, and you have the option to have asthma, and therefore it gives you a competitive edge.
Yeah.
You would like to have asthma, right?
Well, it's more that you say you have asthma, but you don't really, and you take drugs that help with asthma.
I mean, look at that guy's face. Tell me that guy doesn't scream stoner too.
Yeah, so
That
U-
guy-
He was a stoner, right? Didn't
Yeah,
kinda
yeah,
get
he
caught
hit a bong.
Smoking a bong.
USA swimmer Michael Phelps, age 39, but looking like 90-year-old, not 90, maybe 45, 50. Projecting U.S. government crimes onto China, plus making wrong false accusations
he
against
definitely
China
looks
athletes.
a lot different from when he was swimming, though.
While he himself took drugs to boost performance, causing a very fast extreme aging. Does that cause you to look older?
What?
I would say more like 50 at
steroids
most.
does,
I don't
but
know
I don't
about
know.
90, but
United States Olympians have a 6 times higher rate of doping violations than Chinese Olympians. So then why are the Chinese athletes the ones who are subject to extra testing and not the U.S. athletes?
Racism. It's like the same reason why all of these athletes came out at what was her? How do you pronounce her name? Imani Khalif.
I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I know.
Yeah,
her,
the Albanian boxer woman who they
Oh,
immediately
you mean the
started.
transgender one?
Yeah,
Or is she-
just like that, they started accusing her of being trans, and she's not.
I mean,
I think you're talking Algerian,
Algerian. What did I say?
Albanian.
Yep, Algerian. Sorry,
was she born
she was
biologically?
born biologically.
Because
woman.
Algeria, for example, is a Muslim state, so they wouldn't even allow transgender
she would-
surgery.
Right. So people saying that she's trans, you're literally putting a target on her back.
So
Was
she's
she
not,
never
right?
trans?
Yeah,
she was
never
born
trans.
born a
She was
woman,
born
born
a
female. Okay.
And they were making a big deal about it because a couple of years ago she tested a little bit higher for testosterone, and they were saying that should be disqualifying. And then it's funny that Michael Phelps is being brought up because that man is a genetic anomaly.
Because I think
He has
Or
webbed feet.
is he?
He has,
Oh,
he has
wait,
webbed
what?
feet. Yeah, he has webbed feet. He's basically a marine animal. His body produces half the amount of lactic acid, so his body doesn't get tired and sore like everyone else.
I just
And-
assumed that part was propaganda.
And his wingspan is significantly longer from a proportionate rate for how tall he is. Like he's got abnormally long arms. So all of it adds towards being advantageous for being a competitive swimmer. But like no one batted an eye at Michael Phelps, but God forbid a woman just naturally has a little bit more testosterone in her body than anyone else.
That was a controversy
Yeah.
that she had a little bit of more of a male
her
hormone.
body just produces a little bit more testosterone, which like
Testosterone.
I was recently taught that like women when they're going through their period, guess what lowers and gets higher? Their estrogen gets lower and their testosterone gets higher. So she could have easily been tested while she was on one of her cycles.
So was there an
Menstrual cycle.
was there an accusation that she was taking some sort of a male?
Yeah, as
just
soon
that
as-
she was trans.
As soon as she lost and that girl started talking about it, I forget if it was her or all of these celebrities like Jake Paul celebrities. Like Jake Paul came out and was like, oh, she's trans. It's not fair. And like these people were just ignorantly putting a target on her back for no reason. Like she could get killed in Algeria.
Okay. But anyway,
because they don't.
we
admit,
gotta-
right?
Yeah, because they're Muslim.
shit, we went over.
Told
but,
ya.
Yeah, I knew that 4 minutes ago.
But the point is that, China was accused of, doping and all this, but it turns out whoever accuses the most is actually they themselves are the most.
Joseph
accused.
Goebbels.
Smelt it,
I
dealt
think,
it.
I think the Chinese swimmers.
We've
got
all said it since we were kids. Whoever smelt it, dealt
They were
it.
tested the most. You know,
Right.
there were one
They were
player. There was
constantly
one
tested, right?
swimmer who got
Yeah.
tested like 45 times or something like that.
Right.
So
So the
I mean-
Olympics is fucking racist.
To the point where, like, the case could be made that it actually was a detriment to Chinese swimmers because,
know,
like,
I
they're being
heard-
awake,
I heard.
like, at weird times in the night, disturbing their rhythms, and, like, obviously you have to, like,
it's a
probably
blood
get
test.
blood and shit.
It's a blood test, right? So I think KJ Choi said that too, because he was tested a lot too when he was playing
Yeah.
in the PGA Tour because he's kind of muscular and stuff. So they thought, and he was complaining about it that it takes an edge off of him whenever he gets
So despite
tested.
the United States cheating, China still managed to get the same number of gold medals. And under a free and fair competition, China would have kicked the U.S.'s ass, right?
yeah,
Or
with-
just like
with
give
Hong Kong
everyone
and Taiwan.
steroids and let's just see what happens,
And also,
kidding, I don't
if
endorse that.
Russia was in the Olympics, it would have been also very different, I think.
Yeah,
So,
they
for
could have
sure.
taken some of those golds away from.
I mean,
America.
Russia was not in the 84 LA Olympics, just like I think the U.S. was not in the 1980 Moscow Olympics.
Oh yeah.
I think there were a lot of accusations that Russia, like Soviet Union and East Germany, taking a lot of drugs. There were a lot of talks about,
Projection.
on the Western
Yeah.
media.
So
side.
how do we know that wasn't going
Yeah,
on in
so
America?
who knows? Yeah.
I notice every time, elements in the West or this country make accusations about others, it's always stuff that we ourselves are guilty
projection or confession.
of, including
It's
the
kind of
October
like-
7th, the raping and all that. That's actually
You know what it is? It's kind of
projection.
like they're putting their own selves into the Russians' shoes. Be like, if I was a Russian, that's what I would do. So that must, but that's only revealing what their
Because it's
own
easy,
like, kind of
because
character.
it's easier to accuse because you know it. You
Yeah.
know how to do it.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, not just I'm talking about sports, but even in politics.
You don't
Yeah.
you don't hire someone off the street to combat hacking. You hire a criminal hacker.
Right.
Okay.
We got 58 seconds left. Well, we're going to end at exactly 69 minutes. So
10 minutes.
What are you, Elon?
Yeah. Get
Elon
out of
Musk?
here. No,
Elon
we're done.
Musk,
See you
yeah,
guys.
yeah. All right, so that's it. Today we covered the tragic murder of Victoria Lee by that piece of shit from Fort Lee cop. What was his name again?
Tony Pickens Jr.
Tony Pickens Jr. You're gonna pay for your crime of murdering innocent
Like your
young
friend,
Korean
right?
girl.
It's like it just comes out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Well, he's been
Tony
researching
Pickens
it.
Jr. I know.
And then we also covered the Olympics and the doping and all that, and talked about India or something. So, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to this channel, and smash the notification bell. Follow our socials down below. I've been Michael Kim with Michael Wan, Ed Choi, and Douglas Kim. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
We'll be back with Lanny June.
For real this
Is that
time.
today?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I confirm. I feel like you need to work on your sign off and make it less like the intro.
You want to write me a script? No.
Well, you're a script writer. Didn't you write the Just Doug? Right.
I was a co-writer, but yeah.
Just how long did it take you to write? You and your writing.
It
partner?
should have taken a lot shorter, but I think my writing partner was just trying to like, I don't know.
Perfectionist.